times I gotta answer this? What is happening? It's Lavo. It's Lavo. What thing it is? It's your time. That's the time. Sorry, the lights aren't on. It's co-parenting, bro. Yo, and I ain't gonna lie. Oh boy, I can't wait till the show's over. Oh boy, I can't wait for the show to be over. It's a good show today, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Welcome to the Kasabian Lavoe show. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of the live studio audience. Thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading, streaming, all the good stuff. And welcome back. Remember, if you're watching and you're not listening, you can't hear any music. That's by design. YouTube doesn't let us play music. Don't worry about it. Head over to Apple Podcasts, on the other hand. That's where you can hear the music. But for now, just enjoy what we got going here visually. Again, you're the live studio audience, so this is that's what we're doing here. That's what this is. Clap at home and ooh and shit like that. Yo, I'm gonna have a good time today. So let's get into the show, and I'll break down what we're gonna be talking about today, and lot of reading, whole lot of reading. Monoclonal antibodies. If you didn't know, I repeat words that are really hard, and I admire people that use words that are really hard to say. So I always repeat them like over and over and over and over and over and over until I figure it out. Don't judge me, but monoclonal antibodies is a hard ass word. All right, let's start the show. D.L. Hughley's a moron. That's it, and that is all. I have nothing else to say about that. Well, actually, I do. My bad. I shouldn't have used that as a joke. Shouldn't have. Remember, if you can't hear the music, that's just loud. That's mad loud. If you can't hear the music, it's because you're watching and you're not listening. If you're listening, head over to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere else podcasts are listened to, and you'll be able to hear the music. Remember, on Spotify Saturdays, we do a radio, not radio show, so tune in. And if my son is watching, do your homework. I got to come up with a thing while the music's playing. Like something for like my kids, like, what's up? No? All right, I'm gonna stop. I don't want to do that. Doom, doom, Peltorio. Brindal. Oh, it's Kasabian. Kasabian Lavoe wine. Thank you. Welcome back. Oh, I love it. I like this new one. Yeah, what's going on, beautiful people? My name is Kasabian Lavoe, and welcome to the Kasabian Lavoe show live from Las Vegas. Behind the microphone, I'll be your host with talent on loan from God. That's how Rush used to do it, so I'm trying to get, I don't even know where to put it in. Anyway, this is episode 239. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Consider subscribing if you're on YouTube. Hit the like button, share it, let somebody, everybody, tell the world about us. You know what I'm saying? It's always a beautiful thing. Sorry about that. Fuck it, we'll put it right there. Why not? Monoclonal antibodies. Monoclonal antibodies. Monoclonal antibodies. Damn it, monoclonal antibodies. What's wrong with my mouth? D.L. Hughley. Oh, my bad. Hold on. I just want to roast his ass. I'm sorry, y'all. What's going on, beautiful people? How's everybody doing today? We got a new little intro going. I mean, it's another beautiful day. I ain't gonna lie. I'm having a great afternoon. I found a new dispensary that has some really good extracts. I'm here in Nevada where we get to enjoy cannabis and premium cannabis. And I ain't gonna lie, man. When you find a new spot with some good weed, boy, oh boy, I don't even smoke tree no more. I've been smoking nothing but wax tree. To me, it's just too messy. And I definitely appreciate smoking my wax. Really do. Little monologue today coming into the show. And then we'll be talking, we got some good news. Ozone layer closed up over the Arctic, which is pretty awesome. We'll talk about the shortage in New York with the medical field and what's going on with that and what happened at midnight and all the good stuff. Elon is the richest man in the world and probably one of the biggest trolls. Demi Lovato saw aliens. It just never ends. It never ends. Dez Bryant talks Colin Kaepernick. Biden tells us that his Build It Back Better plan is going to cost us $0. Monoclonal antibodies are now being distributed by the government, and we'll find out why monoclonal antibodies aren't available to the public freely. China's getting rid of sissy men. Find out why. And Zillow is battling Tick Tock over who has the best dances. Okay, they're not. But Zillow and Tick Tock had a huge week, and it has something to do with a Vegas agent. And you know I'm a realtor, and I always try to let everybody know that I'm a realtor, but I do a terrible job of doing that. So head over to rgrnv.com. That's my website for my real estate portfolio and everything I have to offer. I'm a realtor here in Nevada, and I can help you all over the world. And yes, it's Nevada when people from out of town are asking. I'm telling you, I'm going to have a good day. It's going to be a really good day. D.L. Hughley was being interviewed on CNN, and he was asked, would you still listen to MJ and R. Kelly's music knowing what they have done to kids? D.L. replied, yes. Then said, just like we listen to the national anthem knowing what America did. Well, sir, you are a moron. You are probably one of the most embarrassing people out there to compare the national anthem and try to say that the national anthem is some type of hate speech to two men, one who is being prosecuted and guilty of pedophilia and touching children, young ladies and young boys, and one who was accused that is dead at the moment. You're comparing the national anthem, which is for all of us here in the country, all of us, to pedophilia? You're disgusting. And that's how we start the fucking show today. D.L. Hughley's a moron. I was having some weird conversations this week. I really did. It's been a very interesting week, and I've met a lot of people. And I'd like to share some of my stories. I have a very huge infatuation for people that make things look easy. Those that can make things look easy have always I'm very driven towards that type of person that enjoys and loves what they do so much that it looks flawless. It looks like it's the simplest thing to do. And when you try, it's probably the hardest thing. And I think I've mastered that, and I enjoy actually learning and doing harder things. So I don't know how to explain that to people when they think that they can do what I do. And I go, no, I attempt and aim for the top 1 percentile of everything. Like, I want to do the hardest shit out there. I don't want to do nothing easy. There's no point. There's no thrill in that. I didn't graduate as a freshman for no reason. Like, I stayed in school because I was bored and had nothing to do at home. I probably would have ended up just selling drugs longer and like prolonged my fucking career and my life. Just being honest, right? So hard work and dedication means so much to me that I just autopilot it, and other people I don't think understand what that even means. Like waking up at 1 o'clock, getting your day going, writing it down, planning it out, figuring exactly how you're going to do what you're going to do. I always like to write out what I'm going to do to see ahead. It's just best for me to see it. That way I can accomplish it, knock it out, and it's gone off the list. I obsess. It's one of my gifts and my curses that when I fall in love with something, I will obsess over it until I perfect it. And I think people should approach a lot of things with that mind state just to see if they truly love what they're doing. I mean, that's the key to making things look easy. You actually love doing it. That's why it's easy, right? Like Gordon Ramsay doesn't cook the way he cooks so flawlessly if he didn't love cooking, right? Like you wouldn't see Chip Foose drawing a car and designing a new car with ease. I mean, every line that he puts on the paper looks like it was completely purposeful. When Bob Ross did his trees, you would see Bob Ross making these beautiful trees and these beautiful landscapes, and you would ask yourself, damn, how can I do something so realistic in that fashion? Now, let me tell you, on the other side of that coin, just so you're very aware, those people were good, or those people are good and are masters at what they do and what they love, which is definitely more than one thing. Because Bob Ross was not only a painter, he was an amazing storyteller, he was a great narrator, and he was a teacher. You could tell all those things were his passions, and he used it as one, and that's how he sold his product. If you asked him to draw a face, it would be the worst fucking painting you'd ever see. I'm sure Ramsey couldn't put together a rap song to save his life or do some type of podcast. He might be able to do a podcast. I don't think Gordon Ramsay could fix a car or do some type of rap song or some shit. You see what I'm saying? Like, everybody's going to have a weakness. In life, my quote and what I always try to tell my kids, the hardest thing in life, the easiest thing in life is being yourself. The hardest thing is finding yourself. So you got to find out what you're good for. You know, what you're good at and what you're good for, because you have to be productive in society. And I think that's a big fucking problem, that people forget that whatever you do has to help others in order for it to grow. If you don't help others and you don't provide a service, then you're not going to make any fucking money. You're really not going to be productive in society. And that just leaves you kind of null and void. You know, people think that damn, that's such a weakness. People just love to not do shit. Get up and go. It'd be nice if people took things a little more serious in that aspect and just said, all right, let me fail. I think I have mastered the art of failing. Everybody should try and do that. The art of failing is so awesome. So I was having this conversation, another conversation, separate, and it was about just how things are going in Vegas, the market, and how housing right now. Basically, they were asking me housing information. I was giving them housing information. And then I was being told that right now there's more opportunities in China than there are here in America as a citizen. And I was like just baffled by the statement. So I go, why do you think that? He's like, well, it's obvious, right? You know what they say, China fucks you fast and throws you out or some shit, and then America fucks you long and slow. Some stupid ass shit. He was trying to be cute or funny. And I was trying to understand what the fuck he was talking about. I was really confused. He's telling me how China is such a, I guess, prosperous place. And I'm like, you obviously have no idea what you're talking about. There's barely any freedoms. I mean, the only freedoms that they really have is in Hong Kong, and that's kind of this weird system that they have there that they're pretty much mushing out of there. The idea that anybody that's in America does not understand why America is so beautiful and why it works is the simple fact that it's the single reason why D.L. Hughley sounds so fucking pathetic when he says what he says about the national anthem. This is the only place in the world where you come and it's not a mono anything. Shush up, you. It's not a mono anything, meaning it's not a single any type of race anywhere. We might have neighborhoods and pockets of multiple races, but still there's not one race. Like when you go to China, there's no little Mexico. When you go to China, there's no, oh, that's the little Puerto Rican town or that's the little African American town. There's no such thing. It's just Chinese people. And you might spot an American or some type of European person, but for the majority, it's just Chinese people. You see, here in America, we have everybody. And in America, the great thing is that we all have opportunity to be anything we want to be as long as we follow the laws. You can be anything you want to be. Honestly, you can if you're good at it. That's the catch. So there's the opportunity there for everyone. Yeah, there's a reason why every giant corporation out of the 13 giant corporations, or what is it, 22? 13 are here in America, in the whole world. You know, hip hop runs the world. English movies, run the world. Anything we do in America changes the world. And of course I got gas in the middle of the show. I mean, America is what it is for a reason. And I think we're doing a terrible job of teaching the next generation and everybody around us what it's about. The idea that anybody can sit here and say that China is more productive or a better place than America is fucking beyond me. You're out of your mind. You have no idea what you're talking about. There's no way. And then it goes on to say, yeah, but freedom of speech. And I go, what do you mean freedom of speech? He goes, well, freedom of speech means that you have to give everybody an opportunity to talk. And even though if you don't agree with them, you have to let them speak. And I said, well, that's wrong. Freedom of speech is actually protecting us from the government to be able to do what we're doing now and speak freely against them and with one another. But when freedom of speech is something that we hold practice in the street or in regular conversation, well, just understand that your freedoms will come with risk, right? Depending on what you say, you can say whatever the fuck you want to say. Just know that depending on what you say, hands might be put in your mouth. You see what I'm saying? Just depending on that. Now, just because you say something doesn't make it fact. And if it's something that's opinion-based, then we should definitely let you know so that we can get you back on track. I don't think there's nothing wrong with people having a conversation, but people need to understand when they're wrong to accept that. And if you don't believe it, at least go do information and you can agree to disagree, but there's really no point to disagreeing when there's facts. And that's just how that went. So the largest hole in the ozone has closed. I don't know why I found this on the Miami Herald, but here it is. The largest hole in the ozone layer has closed over the Arctic. They reported this to the media outlets. I don't even know why it's on the Miami Herald, but that's where I found it. The demise of the large-lived, and of course it's a giant word that I've never seen. I'm not even going to play with that word. Exponentially strong polar vortex, a mass swirling of low-pressure cold air, is to blame for the closure after it created the hole earlier this spring. So there was a cold front that was actually warmer earlier on in the year, which caused the hole in the ozone layer. And then it actually turned into this vortex, this exponentially strong polar vortex of massive cold air, which they've been telling us the world's getting hotter. So that's interesting that some cold air did something good. The news is welcome because the now filled ozone layer can return to its job protecting those on land from harmful ultraviolet radiations. When I cut it and I see myself laughing, I know that it was because I can't read. Radiations that cause sunburns, skin cancers, according to NASA. However, lockdowns related to coronavirus pandemic did not play a part, unlike many reports of drops in human chemicals in the atmosphere due to decrease of travel and business closure. Actually, COVID-19, the associated lockdown, had probably nothing to do with this. This is a good word. Corporeous? That's about right. Atmosphere Monitoring Service, or CAMS, why not just call it CAMS, tweeted it's been driven by an unusually strong and long-lived polar vortex. It isn't related to the air quality changes. Polar vortexes are usually weaker in the northern hemisphere where the Arctic lies, typically because nearby mountain ranges that disturb the weather's flow. CAMS said, unlike in the Arctic, which is on the opposite hemisphere where the holes are more common and they close up quicker. I didn't even know that you could have a hole in the ozone layer due to hot air. I wonder if there's one over Vegas, because I swear to God, it feels like we're right at the face of the fucking sun every day. Like, it was cold this morning, and it's literally like 107 right now. Can somebody make it make sense? Just make it make sense. So what's going on in New York, and why should, anyone be concerned outside of New York City with all of New York's crazy fucking laws, right? Well, New York has become the petri dish for testing all the new stuff COVID related and how we're getting used to our new normalcy-ish. And in New York City, they had a deadline for all of their medical staff to be vaccinated at least with one shot by midnight. I think it was Monday. The now governor came out. Well, I'll just read the story. This comes from CNN. First, before I start, it's crazy that they went from being heroes to threatened, because everybody's job has been threatened literally overnight. As of Monday evening, 92% of hospital staff, 92% of nursing home staff, and 89% of adult care facility staff had at least one vaccination dose. Governor Kathy, I don't even know what her last name is, Hauchi's office said the vaccine rates increased considerably over the last 4 weeks as the state crept closer to its vaccine deadline. Last month, New York State Department of Health issued an order that required all healthcare workers in the state to be vaccinated for COVID-19 by September 27th. So that was Monday. And the day before, they came out and they were telling everybody they had to get it done, they're going to get fired, and there was X amount of people. Now, I literally talked about this because the unions are under the same pressure. And the unions run so many different entities in the country that when they started saying New York City was mandating the vax with their workers, there was thousands and thousands of workers who didn't want to get it, didn't have it, or whatever the case was, medical or religious reasons, medical reasons. They didn't have it, didn't want to get it. And they're at risk of losing their job until further notice, and basically they're being forced to get it even though they probably don't want it or have whatever reason not to take it. Now, I've told you here, it seems like it's better than not to take. I definitely think that if you have a compromised immune system, go take it and go talk to your doctor. I'm not a doctor. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. All I'm saying is that you definitely should consider using it if you have any fears of COVID-19 and you have breathing issues. But to be honest with you, at this point, it definitely feels like we're all going to be forced to do this. So let's hope that all the negatives are gone. and we can get proper information. I think the biggest problem that we're having here is that we don't get the proper information and we're not able to make our decisions based on real information. We get one-sided information. There's really, everything is negative. I haven't heard anything positive. They haven't told us any real survival rates. They haven't really showed us. How many people with the vax can catch COVID for us to say, okay, maybe the vax doesn't really do what we think it does, right? When are you wrong? Like, how many breakthrough cases do you have to go, well, fuck, maybe it's not a breakthrough case? I don't know. I'm asking. Can somebody answer? Answer in the comments. If you're a doctor, fucking call me. I would love to talk to any virologist, any doctor that's available that does upper respiratory. What is that, SAMS or some shit, or RAMS or something? I would love to talk to any of you, because why isn't the good information coming out? Like, get vaxxed so that you can go to work. Now, the bigger issue with this whole getting vaxxed thing in New York, like I said, it's kind of the beginning for the whole country. As of right now, 100 million Americans will be affected by this law if it's put into effect, countrywide. Again, with no options and no avail, and we can't ask any single questions. Basketball players are being the most outspoken right now, and you guys are so amazing. Shout out to just the intelligence of these young men. I am very proud of every single young man that spoke up when asked about the vaccine, and they weren't puppets and pussies like fucking LeBron was. That's all I got to say about that. Good job, guys. Salute to all of y'all. Very well spoken. They had tons of great points, and it seems like every time you make a good point, this video might be pulled because of the new YouTube algorithms. They already said they're going to pull videos that talk about the vax and things of that nature. And I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I'm telling you, go get it. I'm just saying, why can't we ask anything, right? In more good news, Elon Musk is now the richest man in the world. Again, he surpassed Jeff Bezos. Bezos, who was formerly the richest man in the world, is now sad. He's really sad. If you didn't know, Jeff Bezos, what is he at? Jeff Bezos is at an insignificant $197 billion, in which a couple years ago he got divorced and gave his wife mad billions and made her the richest woman in the world, and he's still the richest man in the world. But not till a couple days ago, my boy Elon came by and went pew, right past him. When Elon was asked about being the richest man in the world, he said he's going to send a giant statue of the digit 2 to Jeff Bezos, along with the silver medal. I fucking love Elon Musk. That dude is great. Hey, that's what rich people's supposed to do. Good for him. Send his ass a big ass number 2. I think that is awesome. So just so you know, Bezos is the third person to reach 200 million. He's at 213 billion. Is that what that is? 213 million billion? What the fuck? What the fuck does that even mean? That's what that means. No? Yes. Fuck Bezos with his 197. Fuck he think he is. All right. So I think that more rich people should do dumber shit. I think that is the greatest thing that I've ever seen. They, it, them, or some shit. And I don't mean this in any cruel way. But now it looks like a fucking game. Demi Lovato has now had an encounter with aliens. It doesn't surprise me. She's a fucking clown. Demi is a clown at this point. I have nothing else to say. If music was coming out, I would think that this is a rollout. This is probably one of the most embarrassing, it just can't take you serious anymore. I don't even know how to, I can't wrap my mind around this. Also, Joyner Lucas is probably the corniest rapper in hip hop history for the shit that he has done. He told the world, in which we've already covered, but he told the world, Karen Civil stole my last $60,000 out of my son's mouth. That was a lie. He did all that for a shitty rollout for a song with J. Cole, who's probably one of the most underrated artists in the world, who should be, honestly, on our list, top 2. Not on mine, but in the people's. He has a song. It's always something with him. He's a fucking drama queen. He literally sat there and attacked Karen Civil, made up a story, because that wasn't true. That wasn't what happened. He paid for a service, got the service, he sucked ass, and it didn't work. And what he's done since is just created viral moments that has kept his career going little by little, like if he's jumping from peer to peer, but he's barely hanging on. So he shit all over Karen, didn't make any points, just saw that a couple other people were talking about Karen, jumped on her, and then nothing. He put out this stupid ass song and nobody cares. You are a cornball. That shit is corny as fuck. I can't believe anybody even takes you serious anymore. You're such a fucking loser. So on to more negative news, I guess. This one's about our president, Biden, and his new agenda. So this is from his Twitter. So this is a quote. My Build Back Better agenda costs $0. Instead of wasting money on tax breaks, loopholes, and tax evasion from big corporations and the wealthy, we can make a once-in-a-generation investment in working Americans, and it adds $0 to the national debt. That statement is completely wrong. It is a lie. There's no such way to invest. I mean, I'm not good at math, but if you put 0 times 0 and you carry the 27, I think it's 0. So if I invest 0, we're going to make a once-in-a-lifetime $0 investment. Why do we keep on putting money into the working people? They never make any sense. And if he worded that right, you would understand that they're talking about our infrastructure, which is falling apart, and it's probably one of the shittiest in the fucking world, just based on what we've done. The problem with paying taxes to this government that's the most insufficient that we've ever seen is that we need to be more state rationalized so that we can handle our shit within. So we don't have to deal with these morons who are overpaying themselves with our money to sit here and then piss on us and tell us it's rain. So let's read more about this Build It Back Better story, in which I thought that it'd be great to give you the point of view of an ultra wealthy family. The story comes from Times. This is a great story. To build back better, tax ultra wealthy families like ours. Doing so would mean reforming a tax code that allows a tax code that allows the wealthiest to build and maintain fortunes without paying their share in taxes. Ultra wealthy families reduce their tax burdens to a pittance by deferring sales of their appreciated assets, borrowing against their assets, and structuring their charitable givings. From 2014 to 2018, America's 25 wealthiest people amassed a combination $401 billion, but in some years paid zero federal income tax, according to ProPublica. The Biden administration calculates that Americans' richest 400 families pay an average annual income rate of just 8.2%. So let's stop there and just break that whole thing down. They're saying that right now our tax code has too many loops and cut holes too many loopholes and too many, what was a proper word that he used? Was it just loopholes? Yeah, I guess it was just loopholes. Sorry. So because of these so-called loopholes, which aren't necessarily loopholes, or evading paying the tax, in all reality, most wealthy people don't make that amount of wealth over and over. It's usually a one-time thing. Somebody sells a home and makes $200,000 in 1 year, and their income goes from their average $200,000 to $400,000. Now they're going to be taxed on $400,000, but they have to pay a tax on capital gains and things of that nature. It's very, very complicated. So when they say that the top 400 wealthiest families only paid 8.2%, that's a lot of money. They love to use percentages because they know that you're not going to use your big brain and understand what a percentage is. If I take 1% of $1 million, it's going to be a lot more than 1% of $20,000. So if you're telling me that the 400 richest families only paid 8%, well, I think we should all pay 10% flat. And that's fair, because if you make $500 million, your 10% is a lot greater than somebody that makes $50,000. Do you understand? That's why taxing, let's just keep it simple. If you make $100 and you paid a 10% tax, you would pay $10. Now, an ultra wealthy family, we can say, makes $1,000. The ultra wealthy family that makes $1,000 is going to pay the same 10%, but their 10% is $100 as opposed to your $10. So is their 10% less than your 10%? No. In this case, their 10% is way more than yours by 10x because they make more, so they pay more. Now, when ultra wealthy families have charitable givings, usually that goes to better. It gets spent. The money gets spent and allocated better when it gets put into charitable organizations as opposed to our government. They haven't been able to figure it out. I gave you the example of UPS, FedEx, and USPCS, which is the postal service. You can look at all three of the mailboxes. There's never any update. There's never any upgrade. There's never any upkeep because America isn't a business and they don't know how to maintain these things. So they let it all wither away and fall apart. Now, these ultra wealthy families, they might be years where they don't make much money. Although they make a lot of money, they spend a lot of money. They always use this bullshit terminology that they don't pay taxes. That's not true. These ultra wealthy people that own businesses, own homes, and do things in the community that actually keep the community running, do just that. They keep the community running. Like, it's a literal ecosystem based on one family that has created jobs for thousands or hundreds of people in your community. So they don't pay taxes out of the money they make profit-wise, but they're paying taxes on the land, on the buildings, on the gas, on the materials. They pay your payroll taxes. They pay taxes on the power, the water. They pay taxes on a lot of things. And because of the amount of money that they spend, I mean, it just goes up. You got to think if somebody spends, let's just say they buy a building that's a million square feet and the taxes on that building are $250,000 every 2 years. On top of you have delivery trucks and you got to pay fees and different taxes. I mean, we can keep going, but I can guarantee you that an ultra wealthy family pays way more money than what we consider a poor family. And the adjusted income that they gave was a 50 to 75,000 average family. It doesn't make sense to even compare. Those tax brackets are very, very, very different. Their idea that if you make X amount of dollars and they're going to regulate how much you make is always beyond me. I love that they always find these virtuoso families to cry about this bullshit, how they don't pay any taxes. There's no law that stops anybody from paying too much in taxes. If you want to go overpay, knock yourself out, they won't say shit to you. There's no law that stops that. I promise you, if this family with all their fucking money wanted to make changes because they got too much money, go donate to a school. Go donate millions. And then they're going to go, oh, but we don't pay taxes if we donate millions. So what? If you donate $2 million to your local school district, it's going to go to better use than you paying that shit in taxes to the government going in fucking Pelosi's pockets and all these other fucking morons. I mean, am I right or wrong? They work for us. They're taking our money. There's a reason why there's no upkeep when the government runs things, because they don't look at it as a business, because there's no return on what they're doing. And this just proves it. They bring you families that try to fucking virtue signal. They're not saying shit. They're still going to drive their expensive cars, live in their neighborhoods, and not give shit about you. Period. It's beyond me that a family that is supposedly ultra wealthy does not understand that they pay way more in taxes than what they're stating right here. Let's say we all paid 8% tax. If they made $100 million, their 8% is going to be a lot more than your average $50,000 to $75,000 family. Sorry. And if they're the business owners and they're providing work, they're paying so much money on the back end. I mean, why isn't that reported? How about we understand that, you know, the real statistical fact is that the top percentile, the top 1%, pays 90% of the taxes in this country. And I think that's wrong, but it's close to that. I promise you it's close to that. But Biden's an idiot because it's not going to cost $0. As of right now, it looks like it's costing about $3.5 trillion on top of the debt. And it just doesn't add up. There's a lot of things in there that don't look good. And like Greta Thunberg said earlier, what are we going to do? Because all she does is yap about everybody else not doing good. So this was interesting. Dez Bryant, he's a football player, and I couldn't find a good story to pull it from because it was just basically online. I think it was from a show. I don't know. I caught the tail end of it. I thought it was very interesting. But this comes from iHeartRadio. And Dez says, I respect Colin Kaepernick, but there's one thing that I don't respect. I said when I get the opportunity and get to the stage and say it, I would. And I love him to death. So there ain't no hate. It's nothing like that. But brother, you had the biggest opportunity in the world to create jobs, build jobs, and give jobs to people. As Brian went on to insinuate that Kaepernick abandoned people that once supported him, the people that was, this is in quotes, I'm sorry, I don't know why they threw that in there. The people that was talking about you, the people that was so-called standing up for you, the people who stood beside you, the people that lost their jobs because of you. Where are you at? I ain't heard from you. Now, the interview, I'm not really sure how they got there, but I understand that it came to him just blurting this out kind of, and he's not wrong. It's one of the issues I've said from day one. You got everybody's attention, now what? You got to the stage and did shit. And then Jamil Hill come out, and she's caping for Kaepernick, and let's see what she had to say. She said, with all due respect, Dez Bryant, this is uninformed. Colin Kaepernick has created a publishing company, a SPAC, that is raising $300 million for social justice initiatives, a production company, and etc. on top of founding the Know Your Rights camp. I don't get the point in dragging his name. Well, I'll give you the point in dragging his name. That don't mean shit to me. You're creating a publishing company for what? To publish books? How about you create something that's more legitimate that's going to help us? How about you fund a law school? How about you fund 100 black attorneys? How about you fund 100 Spanish attorneys? How about you fund 100 mixed attorneys? How about you fund 100 doctors? Why is it always entertainment? Because it's the cheapest thing to put your money on. It's all bullshit. Because they're doing it for the return. They're not doing it to help. He has no point in helping. He never had any skin in the game. It was always bullshit. All the protesting was just for self. It did nothing. He had a mediocre career. He wasn't picked up by any other team, and it wasn't because of what he was saying. It's because he was talentless. He had enough talent to get there. It's like there's certain things in life that don't make you an adult. Paying rent doesn't make you an adult. You just got to do it. Buying a house don't make you an adult. You just got to sign it. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's little things that you just got to do. When Colin Kaepernick was protesting, he obviously had nothing to stand on. The fact that he did create these stupid shell companies to make it seem as if he's doing something tells me everything I need to know. And like I said, where's representation? If you want change, you need to create representation. On this show, we have spoken about police reform multiple times. We have spoken about how we would implement that police reform and why we would implement that police reform. He has yet to do anything with the police departments. Why not meet with these people? How about you go into these bad neighborhoods and you start recruiting young kids to be police officers in the future? There's nothing wrong with being a police officer and paying your fucking bills. He never did that. He started hatred. You were hating on the national anthem. Again, you guys keep on making this national anthem seem like fucking white people started slavery. If y'all don't know this, but white people didn't start slavery, and that song wasn't the fucking slavery theme song. Colin Kaepernick did shit, made an ass of himself, got fired, and then went on to ridicule an entire country and then got sat down because he wasn't good at his fucking job, at least good enough to continue to do something that was at least reasonable in the sport to keep him around for the bullshit he was saying. He created hate. He divided a nation. You did the opposite of what you were supposed to do when you had the opportunity. They gave him the microphone and he dropped it, and it wasn't a good drop. It was an embarrassing drop. Colin Kaepernick's a fucking ass clown, and that's that. The dude ain't done shit for shit. All he wanted to do was catch people's attention. It was virtual signaling his best. It's just like a multimillionaire that's crying about not paying enough taxes. Get the fuck out of here. You did nothing. You didn't go talk to no police departments. You didn't go talk to any kids. Not real. You create these companies that don't help anybody. A production company doesn't help kids. And if you're going to create these companies, at least put money on people that are doing something. You got a publishing company. Publish books. Give us 1,000 good books. Give us information. Give us something that's going to be compelling. Let's leave a legacy and let's change how shit is going right now. You can't because you have no plan. Jay-Z said it's time for action, and y'all still ain't done shit. That's the problem. Y'all all talk. Right now, this country is being, when you count our delegates and all our people in this country and how the census is all broken down, Spanish people are becoming the majority in society as a whole. That means that Spanish people are going to have to start now making their way into politics, into business. They have to become doctors. They have to become attorneys. They have to become lawmakers so that their voices can be heard the same way the black community is going to have to do the same thing. But they don't. I mean, Malcolm X told you the same shit, that they're going to keep the white liberal will use an entertainer to keep us entertained. That's what they do. They always go after entertainers. Malcolm X was telling y'all this is what they was going to do. Use entertainers. Where's the committee of all black doctors? How come we don't have a black committee of doctors that are telling us what's going on with COVID for us, people of color? Where's the Spanish panel? Why are we listening to Dr. Fauci? Why don't we have our own commissions? Why don't we have these things? Because you're too busy bullshitting. And when y'all had the opportunity to stand up, and that goes for all of us, y'all motherfuckers went and raided Gucci. That's what happened. That Colin Kaepernick created hate. He didn't change anything. He's done shit to help. He's hurt. He's hindered. He brought us back into a darker age. Brought racism to the front in the worst of ways because it wasn't even real racism. What you just created was a fucking line that you gave people a reason to start shit. That's all that was. Colin Kaepernick's an ass. That's it. It was a wrap. That shit don't make no sense to me. Like, I don't know why y'all. Yeah, Dez Bryant, good for you for standing up. There's been a lot of sports players that are very impressive because they're speaking their minds and because they make a shitload of money and they're not afraid of anybody. Good for y'all. You see what happens when you have money? This is why I say freedom comes in money. When you earn, the government doesn't have to come help you because you're an adult. When you make enough money to take care of yourself, the government doesn't have to subsidize. When you make enough money to take care of yourself, your kids don't got to go to the regular school. You can pay for school. When the government, why don't we understand the government can't figure shit out? They work for us and they do a terrible job and they're overpaid. Every fucking person in the White House gets paid way too much money. Until that's fixed, we'll never have everything right. Something happens. There's a price pain point. I think I talked about this before. I'm not sure. But you pay your employees accordingly. Like if you overpay an employee, if you give a cashier $100,000 salary, that cashier is going to walk around like their shit don't stink. Because at $100,000 a year, they're going to live a whole different lifestyle and feel like, why the fuck am I your cashier? I make $100,000 a year. There's not an entitlement, but damn, you move a little different when you make X amount of dollars. So you got to kind of keep people happy and pinched so that you need them and they need you, and you guys play this like evil, shitty dance, which to me is wrong, and I think you should get paid according to a value system that makes more sense percentage-wise. It's going to take smarter people than me to figure out, but that's me. Commission is basically the best way to go. Now, with that being said, I don't even know why the fuck I got into that. Why did I even get into that? Why y'all let me talk? Like, I don't even know why y'all let me talk. Anyway. Yes, football players having a shitload of money and basketball players having a shitload of money gives them the opportunity to speak freely and not be held back by the media or be held back by anybody. There's no liberal in the world who's going to be able to stop a multi-million-dollar basketball player that has something to say. And guess what? They went to college, so they actually are very well educated, very well spoken, and they have a massive audience. Good luck. This is a different type right now. Y'all not dealing with, listen, that whole shit that LeBron does is out the window. That whole being just too stupid to know what the fuck is going on is out the window. These new guys are something special. Like, I'm really impressed by these new guys. I really am. Good for them. Number 7. That ain't for y'all to know. So, monoclonal antibodies. Fucking, why is it the hardest word in the world for me? Monoclonal antibodies. Let's talk about that. So monoclonal antibodies, are a medicine that's being used as a treatment for COVID. And because our president and this new administration feels like they know it all, they are actually putting a restraint on it, which is very strange because there's really no reason to. This treatment works, it's been tested, it's approved, and there's really nothing wrong with it. But I don't understand why the government feels like they should have the power to distribute it as they feel needed. Who the fuck are they? That's strange. If we have the money to buy it, we should be able to buy it. So Greg Abbott of Texas basically came out and said Texas has obtained its own separate allocation of monoclonal antibody treatments, working around the limitations that President Biden has put on us so that we're able to ensure that anybody in the state of Texas that wants access to these special treatments, that they will be able to get it. Abbott said during an interview. Now, that's amazing. Good for him. That's what you're supposed to do. You step up and you help your people. This doesn't hurt anybody. So why would it be restricted? If they put as much effort into boosting this as they did with the vaccine, then I think people would look at it a lot different. It seems very one-sided, and it seems very money-driven that they're pushing booster shots and they're trying to get the youngest and the youngest and the youngest vaccinated when the vaccine doesn't necessarily cure COVID. Back to this. The announcement came as the federal government has moved to ration the treatment amid the spread of new variants. Previously, distribution sites would be able to order treatments directly from manufacturers. That's what I don't understand. Why is the government getting in between doctors and people's money to get a medicine? Like, if I have the money to buy this, you need to get the fuck out the way and let me buy it. Especially if a doctor gives me a prescription, you're not going to tell me that I have to wait for you to allow me to have it. Texas bought 4,700 treatments to help their people, to make sure that if they needed it, it was there and available. That is an awesome thing. Good job, and shout out to people like Greg Abbott. And I don't understand what the government's doing. You see, they took all these powers during COVID and they continue to do this shit, and all we do is sit around and allow it. Nobody's stepping up to them. They're literally shitting on us, and they're pissing on us and telling us it's rain. It's pretty amazing. I mean, thank God for people like Greg Abbott that's coming out there and he's standing up for his people. He's trying to help his fucking his damn state. So this story I've been sitting on, and I didn't really want to talk about it because yes, it's a real story, but it's strange. And earlier I was telling you about me having a conversation with somebody about China and how China has more opportunities than America. And I found this to be probably one of the most amazing things ever to talk about today after that conversation. Another point that I wanted to make, and I made while speaking to the gentleman, was that Alibaba, as big as a company as it is, has had so many issues with their owner because he's a complete twat. He's just an idiot. So the Chinese government, or the Chinese Communist Party, the CCP, came in and just took over Alibaba, which is how they do everything over there. So explain to me what part of that's an opportunity when the government can step in and just take over your company. Kind of like what they're doing here, right? That's crazy. So the story comes from the Los Angeles Times, and it's basically China is putting a stop to sissy men. China is purging celebrities and tech billionaires, but the problem is bigger than sissy men. As the economy slows, China's cracking down on the rich and famous. China's crackdown on the rich and famous may be an attempt to distract from the ordinary family's anxiety over the children's future. Celebrities' names are vanishing from credits on TV. Oh, really? And what is that word? Effeminate male idols. Oh, effeminate male idols, or sissy boys, have been vilified. Tech moguls have been urged to donate billions of dollars to philanthropy, and kids went back to school last week with new rules banning foreign textbooks and requiring more classes on the ideology of the leader Xi Jinping. The changes are part of Xi's new Common Prosperity campaign to narrow the gap between the rich and the poor by creating materials and spiritual wealth. Okay, this is pretty interesting. So he's saying that their country is so distracted by entertainment and bullshit that they're having a gap in industry similar to what we have going on here, that so many people are infatuated with entertainment that they don't want to work. So they're going to minimize entertainment and leisure to force everyone to want to work so that they can have a future because their GDP depends on it. There's so many people there that they need to guarantee X amount of people work for it all to run. We have to do the same thing here in America. Like, we have come into a generation of people that don't know how to use their hands. We keep on having these fucking dreams of robots running everything, and we have yet to transition into teaching code. Schools have not adapted with the times, nor have even done a good job of teaching kids how to get jobs today. I don't even think teachers understand how to make money today. Do teachers understand crypto, NFTs, computers, coding, or anything that's even related to today? So the idea that China wants to ban all these distractions, I mean, you could take out the sissy boy thing. I guess I understand it. They just want to vilify anything that doesn't have something to do with making country better. And you have to ask yourself, how is that supposed to change the world, right? If China is able to manipulate their entire culture to stop having fun and just work, in the next 20 years, they're going to outwork us. That's a fact. Like, that's really going to happen. How do we avoid that? I don't understand how that's something that we can. I don't even understand it. And the idea that you will, you'll stop the gap because basically you're saying poor people wouldn't be having fun. They would go to work and they would just make more money. Yeah, I mean, it sounds good, but it doesn't. It really doesn't. And I mean, he's trying. But, when you're a communist leader and everybody just does what you say, they're supposed to study fucking books based on you, then knock yourself out, right? There's a fear, though. Again, because it seems like they're building an army of workers and we're not. We're just continuing to bullshit and everybody wants to bitch about the dumbest things. And they're not paying attention that obviously people around the world are going to outgrow us. Like, I think the Olympics was supposed to be like a wake up call for America to go, oh shit, we're not as far advanced as we used to be. And we might not be. In entertainment, far, far beyond where everybody wants us to be. But besides entertainment, we're falling apart. We have a country full of idiots. Nobody knows nothing. Nobody knows the basics. And it's going to get harder and harder for this country to grow if we cannot start teaching our people and making it a stronger country. Now, our last story today is Zillow versus Tick Tock. So a Las Vegas agent made a TikTok about how Zillow was basically stealing work from him. And I don't even know how I missed this. I guess it was like a week ago. So the story made it to Yahoo Finance, and I'll read what Yahoo Finance had to say, which gives a lot more information, and then I'll jump into it. The popular real estate website Zillow was criticized on social media after a TikTok video decreeing an anonymous real estate agent company's potentially nefarious business strategies went viral. A Las Vegas-based real estate agent, Sean, I'm not going to give you his last name, posted a 2.5-minute video on TikTok earlier this month describing a scenario where a so-called iBuyer uses its massive user-generated database to scheme the local housing market. An iBuyer, according to Zillow, is a company that buys homes almost instantly by relying on technology determining a market-based cash offer. Okay. This is what he said on his TikTok. He said, let's say the company buys 30 homes in a 2-mile radius, and let's say the price is $300,000. They buy all those at $300,000, and the 31st home they buy it at $340,000, essentially raising the market and pushing all the other houses, in that market to go up. Now, that description is not right. That is not what they do. Us agents, I mean, I've had clients that'll tell me, hey, right now, I'm selling a house. We're the highest in the neighborhood, and my client says that that's what his house is worth, and we're not really too far off what people have been getting offered and closing on, but it definitely is higher than the average, and it will change that neighborhood's projections because they're literally going from 400, 410, and now we're looking for 425, and we might come in at 420, but either way, we're definitely going to raise that neighborhood's value by doing this. So what he's saying is that Zillow goes around and buys a handful of houses and keeps them all at basically bottom dollar prices, and then takes a last one. They'll take one out of that bunch, and they'll pay more on it to raise all those houses' capital. Okay, first off, that's not true. They don't do that. Houses don't even sell quick enough for you to manipulate the market in that fashion unless you like bought a whole block out. And the way the market's moving right now, too slow. Zillow makes money off of ads. My beef with Zillow is that they've destroyed the MLS. Like, we pay a shitload of money for the MLS, and it's honestly a waste of fucking money. Zillow goes in, steals all our information, doesn't give us any money, has all these people looking at our houses, and doesn't give us the leads. So their money comes from generating leads. They're basically like a Yellow Pages for realtors. I think Zillow is a powerful tool. Zillow, if you're listening, hire me. I will be your agent for like ever and ever and ever. Zillow, I think, is basically the Kevin Hart of real estate. Kevin Hart, if you don't know, collected email addresses and collected phone numbers and names, but mostly the email address thing to always stay connected with his clients, and that's how they built a database and they got tickets sold. I mean, Zillow is genius. You go to Zillow, you look at a house. Everybody wants to look at houses. You go look, you put your information in, and boom, it's a trap. They got your information. They can sell it to an agent, and they can basically tell an agent, because I paid for the service. They call you and tell you, hey, somebody's looking in the area that you paid for. Go make money off of them. There's nothing wrong with that, but that's where Zillow makes its money. Now, how does Zillow buy your house at this low price? It's not that it's at a low price. What Zillow is offering you is a cash now price. So if your house is $400,000, Zillow is going to tell you that they'll buy it from you for $380 right now cash and get you out in 30 days. There's not going to be any fallout. It's a guaranteed buy, and they'll get you out in those 30 days accordingly. Now, if the house is still worth $400 and they're able to sell it for $400, of course they will. They don't have time constraints. That's the good thing about being a bigger business or a giant corporation. That doesn't mean that me as an investor or a realtor can't go on and help. I can actually help an investor buy that home and do the same exact thing. So Zillow isn't doing what this guy is ensuing By no means. In all reality, Zillow is more of a yellow pages. Like it's like a Facebook. They just been able to steal all of our information and repurpose it, and they make a profit off of running ads. They make a profit off of selling leads. They make profits off of connecting. I mean, ads, I think, is going to be their major one too, because you imagine how many lenders, imagine how many builders, how many agents are all paying just to be on Zillow because of the traffic. Like, Zillow has an amazing amount of traffic. Like, Zillow's the mall, right? You want to be at Zillow. Zillow's been able to collect so much information. It's just a powerhouse. It really, that's it. You can't be mad at they're a powerhouse. Like I said before, I've talked about real estate in many different videos, and I'm going to start pushing a little heavier, but real estate changed a long time ago. Real estate's about who you are, not about what you can do. Real estate is about who you know. It's more about your personality, and real estate hasn't changed in a bunch of years. It's basically drag and drop. A lot of jobs are becoming that. There's many fields that are professionals that are of the higher ilk that it might be harder to get into the profession, but the profession itself has gotten so easy that it gives you almost time to reinvent what we're doing, because real estate is definitely changing. Like, there needs to be a bunch of updates, but there's going to be a shift, I think, one more time in real estate before we go almost maybe 100. I can't say 100% digital, but we're going to definitely push further into digital. And we might have to come up with new laws to keep regular folks out of real estate so that agents can have, our protections. We pay all these fees so that we can not only provide a great service, but that we can protect ourselves from lobbyists who are trying to take money from us and who are trying to ruin our business that we generate money. Oh, I get paid by helping you.